Welcome to the Explainer. So, if you've ever stared out at a patchy lawn or just a bare backyard and thought, man, I'd love to harvest my own crisp, fresh veggies out there, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, I'm going to be your mentor. We're walking through a true beginner's masterclass in home gardening. We're literally taking the guesswork out of the dirt and building your knowledge right from the ground up.
Look, let's be totally honest right off the bat. Starting a garden from scratch, it can feel incredibly intimidating. You know the feeling you open up one of those massive glossy seed catalogs in January, or you look at a crazy complex grid of planting zones and suddenly it's like, do I need an agriculture degree just to grow a tomato? No way. I promise you it does not have to be that hard. We're going to break all of this down together into really simple, totally doable steps.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We've got a clear 5-step plan: planting and soil preparation, spring and fall planting calendars, rotating crops for soil health, mulching for moisture and weeds, and watering wisely during summer.
Section 1. Planning and soil preparation. This is all about building the foundation.
Think of your garden kind of like building a house. You'd never start putting up walls without pouring a really solid, stable foundation first, right? Well, in gardening, January and February are your foundation pouring months, and here's exactly how you do it. Step 1, you've got to take a soil sample and get it tested at your local county extension office. By the way, they are a free, completely amazing resource. Your test dictates exactly what your ground needs. It's essentially a blood test for your yard. Step 2, based on those results, you apply lime to balance the pH along with a heavy dose of compost or manure. And Step 3 is plowing that organic matter right under the surface. Our sources point out that getting this organic matter into the ground early makes a massive difference in the fertility, the physical structure, and the water-holding capacity of your soil. It's a total game changer.
Moving on to Section 2, spring and fall planting calendars. Because, as you'll see, timing is everything.
So, having great soil is really only half the battle. Your local timing is actually dictated by the mean dates for the last spring freeze and the first fall freeze. These maps brilliantly illustrate the ultimate rulebook for your local area. The date of your last spring frost determines when it is finally safe to put those delicate, warm season plants outside. And the date of your first fall frost, well, that tells you exactly how many days you have left to harvest your late season crops before the cold just completely wipes them out.
To simplify those incredibly dense planting charts you always see, just focus on this digestible cheat sheet. You really just have 2 major planting windows. Spring runs roughly from March to May, and fall kicks off in mid-July and runs right through September. In the spring, you're gearing up for warm weather lovers. We're talking beans, sweet corn, squash, and of course those beloved tomatoes. Then, right in the absolute peak of the summer heat, you actually start your fall garden for cooler weather crops like collards, turnips, cabbage, and broccoli.
All right, Section 3. Rotating crops for soil health. Let's talk about outsmarting pests.
I love to think of crop rotation as a high-stakes game of musical chairs for the pests and diseases living in your dirt. Let's say in year 1, you plant tomatoes, and you get a problem with root knot nematodes, which are these microscopic worms that attack the roots. If you plant tomatoes in that exact same spot in year 2, those nematodes are already sitting there waiting in the soil, ready for a feast. So to outsmart them, you just plant a completely different, much less susceptible crop in that area the next year. You literally starve the disease out just by moving the target.
Section 4. Mulching for moisture and weeds. Introducing your garden's best friend.
Listen, if you take away only one daily maintenance tip from this entire explainer, let it be this. Mulch is the beginner gardener's absolute best friend. Laying down a simple layer of mulch solves 2 massive headaches at the exact same time. First, it completely smothers grass and weeds so they can't compete with your veggies for nutrients. Second, it acts just like a blanket. It conserves vital soil moisture and prevents extreme drought stress when the weather inevitably gets hot. You're going to want to apply your mulch around things like tomatoes, peppers, potatoes, and beans after the plants are established, but right before those long dry spells hit.
And finally, Section 5. Watering wisely during summer. Beating the heat.
Now, the crucial point here is this concept of deep watering. I know it can seem super counterintuitive when it's scorching hot outside to actually not water your plants every single day, but our sources are crystal clear on this. You need to water deeply and less often. If you just give your plants a shallow daily sprinkle, the roots are going to stay right at the surface where the water is. But if you force that water deep into the ground, the roots have to stretch and grow down deep to find it. And that makes your plants incredibly resilient to heat and drought.
Before we wrap up, I've got a quick, somewhat surprising mentor tip directly from the Extension Office experts. Never, ever work in your garden when the foliage is wet. I know it's so tempting to go out right after a beautiful morning rain to pull some weeds or harvest beans, but brushing up against wet plants is a guaranteed way to accidentally spread fungal and bacterial diseases from one plant to the next. Just wait until the sun has completely dried the leaves off before you dive in. Don't ruin all your hard work over a simple routine maintenance error.
Look, gardening is a constant, ongoing learning process. As this fantastic piece of advice from our sources states, keep a logbook of problems and failures that occur. Note successful techniques and varieties for consideration next season. Maybe a specific bug got the upper hand this time, or maybe a certain variety of squash just performed amazingly well for you. Write it down. Taking an inventory at the end of the year and actually tracking your own unique gardening journey, that is exactly how you become a master.
So look at how far we've come today. We've built the foundation in the soil, we mapped out our seasonal calendars, learned how to outsmart pests with rotation, conquered those weeds with mulch, and mastered the summer droughts with deep watering. The only thing left is the absolute best part. Are you ready to grab your trowel, dig into that healthy dirt, and start writing the very first entry in your own garden logbook? Get outside, get your hands dirty, and enjoy the incredible reward of growing your very own food.